everyone, I'm Sue and welcome to Sue O'Very Designs, where I bring you fast, fun, and adorable projects. Today we're going to be making another project from the Owls in Love Embundles collection. And don't forget, the Owls in Bundle collection comes with 5 different in the hoop and machine embroidery projects. So grab your machine and let's get stitching. Go ahead and print the instructions for the hot pad. This way you can see all the materials and tools that you're going to need in order to make this project. Because your eye material is white, we're going to go ahead and put a fusible woven interfacing to the wrong side of it. This just kind of thickens it up a little. Next, we're going to go ahead and add the paperback fusible web to the wrong side of that interfacing. And what this is going to do is it's really going to help when we go to applique. That material will actually stick right to our main material. Now go ahead and just peel that paper away and discard it. And boom, there you go. Fold your pocket/mitt in half height-wise, press it, and then you're going to sandwich inside the thin fusible batting. Give it a good press and set it aside for now. Now let's go ahead and hoop our stabilizer. Make sure it's nice and tight. And you're going to insert your thread and your needle and bobbin, and so stitch number 1. Now place the thermal batting with the silver side facing up and then the front on top of it. So stitch number 2. So stitch number 3, which is the quilting, and now place the belly applique directly over that lower portion. And so stitch number 4. Now use those duckbill applique scissors and cut all the way around that stitching as close as you can without cutting the stitching. You'll notice that I like to cut from the outside in when I'm cutting applique in these duckbill scissors. Now sew the tack down stitch. With the fusible side facing down, place the eye applique piece over the eye circle placement stitches. Use your mini iron to secure that material in place. Now insert into the machine and sew the eye secure stitch. Use the duckbill applique scissors and cut again closely to the stitching without actually cutting the stitching. Put back in machine and sew the next 2 stitch sequences. You'll see that we've got the outside eyes and the inside eyes. Now it's time to add our chenille materials. Place all 3 layers over the belly applique area. Use tape to secure the top, bottom, and each side. Insert hoop into machine and sew the belly stitching. Remove the tape and get those duckbill applique scissors out again. Using the belly applique material as a guide, cut all 3 of those chenille layers all the way around until you get to the other side. Now take your time on this. There's no rush, and be sure that you don't accidentally cut any of the materials underneath. Follow the belly applique as a guide even up underneath the eye area. When you get to the very bottom center, it's up to you if you want to kind of cut that little area up. I went ahead and left it as is. Now place the aqua mesh over the center of the eye and top belly area. Sew the next stitch sequence, which is the beak. You'll notice that I actually used 2 layers of the aqua mesh. It just seemed like it would give it a little bit extra thickness, kind of covering and hiding those materials. And whatever aqua mesh doesn't come off will eventually get washed away in the machine. If you really want to, you could even use a wet Q-tip to help get rid of it. Now let's go ahead and add the loop ribbon. Notice at the center top there's a little hash mark. Just fold your ribbon in half with the fronts on top of one another, just like that. And you can place it right side facing down with about, I don't know, like 1/2 inch of the raw edges outside of the stitching. Use a little bit of extra tape to really secure it down in place. Now grab that pocket/mitt, and what we're going to do is align the 2 notches at the bottom with the folded edge. You're also going to have the batting closest to the front. So the next stitch sequence. Alright, and now it's time to add our cute little ribbon feet. We're going to go ahead and fold those ribbons exactly the same way as we did the center top, and just again about 1/2 inch outside of the stitching will be the raw edges. And it's really up to you where you want to place them. Just make them look like little feet. And use lots of tape to make sure they're nice and secure. Place the back right side facing down over top of the front, and then another piece of thermal batting with, again, the silver facing up. So the last stitch sequence, time to get that hoop out of the way, and very carefully cut all the way around. Do not cut the little ribbon though. If you cut them, it's not the end of the world, but if you do leave that little extra piece of ribbon, what's great about that is it'll actually add like a little extra security and stability, especially when you're going to use the loop maybe in your kitchen. You definitely want to have a little extra seam allowance of ribbon inside. So just take your time and don't cut the ribbon. You're going to be cutting about 1/4 of an inch all the way around, and you could even miter the ears if you wanted to. At the opening, you're going to want to leave about 1/2 of an inch and do your best to get rid of any extra bulk that you can, like for example the stabilizer and all those layers of batting. This will just help when you're turning it right side out and also when you're hand stitching that opening closed. This is a great trick for any in the hoop project that has a lot of bulk. Now cut that seam allowance down to about 1/2 an inch to 1 inch. Turn this guy right sides out. Take your time, it's no rush, and be really careful not to rip open that seam. Use a point turner as needed and remove all the tape as you go along. Again, with the point turner, you're going to be really careful that you don't accidentally poke through, so take your time. Another great tip for when you're working with a point turner is use that rounded edge to go around curves. Now tuck all of those little extra seam allowances inside, and it's time to hand stitch. I'm going to go ahead and use a darker thread though, just so that you can see my stitch. It doesn't have to be beautiful, it just needs to be durable. When you get to the very end, you're going to tie a series of 3 knots. This is the first knot, secures it once, and then we're going to do a second set of knots. And then the third one you're going to do a little bit further away from the first 2. This way you have tied your first knot, and then you've actually created the knot for the next hand stitching, and then just clip in between. Now you've got a hand stitching needle ready to go. Give it a good press. Turn it right sides out for the last point, and the pocket / mitt is right here. Now you'll kind of see the whole little guy come together. That's where you'll slip your hand in when you're using it as a pot holder. Use the point turner one last time and give it a good press. Now it's time to cut that chenille. This part is so much fun. You're going to need your little short scissors, and if you wanted to use a chenille cutter, these are really cool. This one's by Olfa. And you're also going to use that point turner. If you slide it underneath those 3 layers and start clipping, this will help prevent you from cutting that bottom applique piece. We don't want to cut that. So slip that little point turner up underneath there, get it started. Give that chenille cutter a try. There's different settings on this particular one. It's just a really cool little gadget to help getting around chenille cutting. It doesn't work as great with curves. I had to play with it a little bit and find the right setting. So just kind of experiment with it. But a pair of scissors will work just fine for cutting this small amount. As you're experimenting with this Olfa chenille cutter, there's different depths to it, and I found that as I played with it, I found one that was a little bit shorter and I could get into curves a lot better. See? This one worked the best. Look how far I was able to get up inside and even around the curve. There you go. Once you're all done cutting your chenille, it's time to give your little owl's belly a tickle. Really just gonna kind of rub your fingernails on there, or get a toothbrush, or they even have chenille brushes that you can get. And then of course you're gonna want to throw this guy in the washing machine, maybe like in a laundry bag. That way all the extra threads don't go all over the place. I cannot wait. We both cannot wait to see which colors and materials you used for your little hot pad. So be sure to post pictures on social media, and of course use the hashtag Embundles. And if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, join my weekly newsletter, and of course follow me on Instagram and join our Facebook fan club. And until next time, I hope you have a creative day. Bye-bye! For more information on the Owls in Love Embundle or other Embundle sets, click on the link below. Thanks and have a creative day. Bye-bye.